So just a small revision from last call. ILQ is our last break of structure and a high and lows that causes it. So for example, now if you see any traits, it would be this, right? From last week. We tap into high time frame objective. And again, the reminder, high time frame objective can be liquidity. So now you know ILQ, we'll do a few more. Then we have inefficiency, meaning FVG fill or EPA continuation on higher time frame. Okay. So the last thing I want you guys to do is, I still see some markups that some people still didn't get it. You just want to use EPA on the same leg. So let's say you have a leg like this on low time frame, price taps into something on high time frame. And here, let's say you have this, you have EPA, right? But you don't want to use this EPA anymore. The moment price taps into something here, we start a new leg. So it will look like this. And if you want to use EPA, you use it here. But you cannot use this EPA as your objective for sell anymore. You only use the high time frame one, which would be, let's say, this is our high time frame structure, and then we tap into high time frame EPA. And this can be our objective to sell, right? So I don't know when we had our last call. I'm just gonna check quickly. 23rd. Just 27th. Yeah, 23rd. So yeah, so for example, this cell, for this cell, you don't use this EPA anymore. Okay, break of structure, inefficiency IPA. So someone would have this idea, but price had to tap into something here that can cause a pullback on higher time frame, right? So at that moment, we stop using it. We don't want to use this anymore. This is price action on the left for us. And if we want to trade, we trade continuation into our next rebalance. And the only EPA we can use for sell is this high time frame. We follow high time frame structure, and voila. So this would be low, high, low, high, low, high. This is our last structure. This break of structure. Also, okay, we'll get to this later. So that's regarding EPA. Regarding ILQ, last week we had few trades. For example, first sell here. What's the height of objective for this sell? Can anyone say? Harun. Harun? Are you here?
Yes, sorry, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm with my little brother.
Okay, no problem. Why did we sell here from high time frame perspective?
Can you repeat, please?
Why did we take a sell here?
I took a sell here, but what do you want exactly?
What is the high time frame level? Every time you take a trade.
The high time frame level. For me is my structure is like that, and my structure is like that. It's this.
Okay, imagine this. You wake up on this day, okay, and you see this. Why do you want to take sells?
Okay, sorry. Okay, I understood. For me, I wait 50% EPA in this structure, the money transfer, and after I wait stoppant or bearish candle.
Okay, so there was your bias. Yeah.
Price is efficient.
And currently I'm inside the trade.
Okay. What did you say, Darut?
I said because price is efficient on the higher time frame, and it took out the liquidity on the EL. What do you call it?
This one?
Yeah, it took out this
Okay,
one.
that's a correct answer. This is ILQ on daily. Okay.
Q, yeah.
So you go to daily, Harun, and you just had a break of structure on daily. So this is your MSU on daily. This is not a bad idea, but this is the nearest objective you had, a liquidity. So the moment price taps into this, all you have to do is of course, you can just wait on for daily bearish close, but this week had a lot of news, so that's not a great idea. Or you can wait for price to take it out and wait for lower time frame entry confirmation. So price takes it out, this daily level. The lowest time frame you use for daily is M15. You can use H1 as well. So we can play H1 a bit and see what's happening. You can also refine this to anything on the left. So usually I want to see, let's say, FEG fill on the left, or maybe money transfer. This was a valid idea too, with no confirmation. So if this guy gets taken out, then this would be the next buy side liquidity level, right? You just wait for some reaction. H1 reaction. Okay, that's not really enough information for me. So you can drop to M15 and see what's happening. You have a break of structure. And you can just simply take the trade of M15 ILQ. So this was the biggest trade from last week. After this, we had another break of structure. And this also becomes our MSU POI, right? This is our liquidity. And that's where the sell came from.
Yeah, Milan.
Mm-hmm.
It gave which day? I think it was on
H1OB.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
It took out, if you go to 15 minutes, it took out structural liquidity and it gave perfect entry on the order book.
Which one, here or here?
There where you marked.
Yeah.
If you play forward, you will see in the 15 minute, it will take out this high on the structural lower.
You can annotate on my screen.
Okay. 1 minute. Option, annotate. You see this, you will take it out and I entered here.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So we can continue with our topics.
1 second, if you please. I have a question. If you can go on the daily.
Go
Daily
what?
time frame.
Daily?
I have a question. Yeah, daily.
Hmm.
Generally, since the first high tested like support and resistance,
Mm-hmm.
we expect it to be later taken out, or this is irrelevant. Like since it
We do
fairly
expect it to be
efficient.
taken out.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. The better the pricing, the lower probability of it being taken out. So if it was this, then you just usually expect an EPA.
Even yesterday, Milan. Even yesterday, if you pull it forward, it broke the structure, and it came back to the structure and perfectly. It make liquidity before you make those wicks. For those wicks.
Yeah. Then a stop hunt.
Yeah.
And then sell.
To the OB. But how did you enter? Did you enter on the OB or did you enter after the stop hunt?
You have to enter after.
Yeah,
like you have after this break of structure, you just take the sell, like whenever you want.
So you didn't look for this here. You just waited for this break.
No, you already have confirmation.
Okay, it's efficient.
It's efficient. Enough liquidity created, enough liquidity taken. Stop on order flow, break of structure, and you just continue.
And you can enter here too. Low time frame.
Yeah. So on these trades, you can enter on lower time frame as well. And then 5 and 3.
Yes.
Okay. But we'll have one session where we're gonna do like 30 trades. So we can do that later. So did we do SLQ and TLQ, everyone?
No.
Okay. Today we'll do SLQ. You follow objective structure as always. Let someone ping me. Okay, so we'll follow objective structure as always. So far, we know that this is ILQ. But sometimes you see price action just mitigates and continues the range, right? And now it's our job to refine this. Like, so SLQ is structural liquidity, most extreme internal structure. Okay, so every leg will have its own SLQ, but we'll only use it for continuation. Continuation. And high time frame pullback. So again, when price takes out some objective, we create a lower time frame trend. We just use it like this, and in practical, it will look like this. Here's some high. You break structure. You have EPA. First of all, you need to make sure that this high is safe. Okay, how can we know this high is safe? We start collecting confluences. So let's say 50% is top. Doesn't have to be 50%, but this can be like OB mitigation. And we are moving in a low resistance zone, right? So what is low resistance? For example, you have trend line, or you have liquidity like this, or you have some sort of huge FEG move without any structure on the left that can rebalance and push price higher. So then we know this guy is safe, and all you need to see is an internal structure inside. So that's the reason why I didn't want you guys to mark internal structure in the first day, because it would confuse you. But now you can, and this will be SLQ. So I'll show you some examples quickly. Let's say this leg was fine. So I can go to M15, or even H1 is fine. So you have a break of structure, you have another break of structure, ILQ, first sell. You're efficient and everything's fine. After this, you have the break of structure. Why can we anticipate that this guy is pretty much safe? Because we had a liquidity grab before, and we are moving in a low resistance range. Okay, even though we have inefficiency, there's really nothing that can push price higher. What would we have to see to anticipate a movement like this? Usually, let's say you have a structure like this and suddenly have a stop hunt like this. Okay, this is the opposite of low resistance. This is high resistance liquidity. It's basically strong highs and strong lows that are opposing. So what do people usually see? They'll expect a reaction here, or a reaction after taking the low. But in both cases, our price tap, you are expecting those levels to go, basically. The conditions, the market conditions always change when you tap into a trap or you take a high resistance liquidity. So in those cases, you can anticipate a move like this, but that wasn't the case here. And as you can see, these are external low, external high. This is SLQ, and you can trade this the same way as ILQ. You can just enter after a bearish candle, an opposite color candle on the same time frame. Okay, so that's one example. We'll get one more. There's nothing here. I mean, every leg has its own ILQ, SLQ. We'll go to high time frame and mark structure here on H4. For example, this. Yeah, this is our external range. This is your SLQ. But before you mark this one, you have to find some reason for this to be strong for you. I'll teach you strong highs later. Okay, so this was the creation of strong high. And even though it's counter trend, we are in uptrend, we are targeting something above, we can still use this level to trade a pullback. High time frame pullback.
Just based on the structural liquidity.
Yeah, that can be confluence. Right? So this would be a continuation. Let's say the buy here on daily. So for example, in October last year, when we started buying up, what was the reason? We took out all liquidity on weekly. And so, of course, you want to expect some reversal pattern on daily, right? Then you have a break of structure on daily. SLQ taken out, which can be a potential trade. This you can use as your high time frame objective level. So it would be daily liquidity level. You would enter on M15, M5. So let's check. There you go to M15. There's not much to see. This trade. So it's just a pullback. Yeah, and here, for example, you see, even though we are on daily time frame and we are following the time frames as we should, M15 should be our lowest. If you follow M15 in this case, we would lose the trade because the range is too big. And for you to wait 50 pips, and the price action would be away long time, right? So in cases like this, when the structure is too big, you can just hop to lower time frame M5 and you trade it from there. So let's say you can get some lower time frame trade here, just based on daily SLQ, right? So, or you can trade this after this bullish candle and you wait for some pullback and enter the next day. You can use it for bias as well. Because if you see a valid setup on daily, you can use it for as bias for the next few days until we reach the next objective. So here we know that it's gonna be bullish, that you can practically enter like this on a bullish candle and have a stop loss like this and target this, right? So instead of entering with 60 pip stop loss, you can just use it for bias and trade this on lower time frame, catching the same move with more refined analysis. Here you can also see we have another break of structure. We confirm daily EPA. Yes, so we now confirm this reversal from a weekly level. And the next level to trade, first you check all time frames. You start on daily, and if on daily you have a clean level, that's all you need. You don't even have to go to H4 or H1. So after this, you had a huge move, right? So that's continuation. 1, 2 cases. Before this, you have a pullback sell as well. So you see, try to find out what happened here. Yeah. So there's no reason for this buy. But again, this will be a strong high for us in the middle of, at the beginning of reversal. Even though we are bullish here at this point already, we can still use this SLQ for pullback sell just because this guy is strong. And a strong high and strong low for me is defined by a double sweep. So usually you have some external liquidity level. Price takes it out. On this broker, it's a bit off, but on FXCM, you would have a wick like this. The liquidity level will be like this, and price sweeps it once, closes below it, sweeps it the second time, and then continues. And if that happens, this becomes our strong high. And it is also one of my entry models. Okay. So for example, here we have external liquidity on H4. So we have this liquidity, this. We tap into something on high time frame. So I guess this is just a mitigation of the previous range. And then price takes out H4 liquidity level, external liquidity level. We have one sweep. Second bullish candle you can enter. You can take a buy here on the same time frame, like this, or you can trade lower time frame. But after this all, this will be a strong low for you. right? And this will lead us to my strong high model.
So the strong low or strong high is if you see MSU.
Huh?
How do you define strong low? Did you say if it breaks 2 times, like efficient?
No. I said, okay, I'll draw it for you.
Yeah,
No
thank you.
problem. Okay, so price sweeps, external liquidity, or SLQ, this rare case. Okay, take it too seriously. So first of all, what is external liquidity? It's everything that's not ILQ, any structure. So you can, oh, actually, we can do this instead. Can be internal liquidity as well. But usually is external. So we have some old structure. You know, this is your ILQ. And all structural points before that are external liquidity. So you can apply this on this one, on this one, on this one. And when price sweeps the high, so let's say we have this liquidity. Yeah. So when price sweeps this liquidity, what you want to see is a candle that goes above, right? So this is our first sweep. We take this guy out, and then it pulls back down. So the candle should close like this. So this is our first sweep. We sweep it and close below.
Okay.
So in this case, it's a trap, no?
Yeah. So in this case, what people would see, this is some resistance level, right, for sell. They see a rejection and they start selling. And the reason this happens is because everyone that's sold here will be taken out again, because again, we don't have enough liquidity for the reversal, right? We know for now that price can create liquidity with MSU. This is another way to create liquidity, in my opinion.
Okay, and
yeah.
Yes, sorry, bro, but I want to know something. Which is the difference between strong high and the trap?
Okay, I'll get to that later.
Okay.
So price takes it out again. You have another candle. So we have a second sweep, and you can basically see all liquidity in the first sweep is now taken out and transferred to the next candle. So we have sweep, then price can close bearish, doesn't have to. But let's say it does close bearish here. And after it closes bearish, you can sell. And this, after those two sweeps, you can say this is a strong high. So let's say price continues like this, and this is your next level to trade from. Is that clear?
Yes, any time frame.
Yes, it's a double sweep setup, no?
Yeah. Any time frame is fine. So if this is H4 time frame, you want this to be on H4. If this is H1, you want this to be on H1.
Okay.
And of course, if this is H1 high, but also H4 high, obviously choose the high time frame. It's H4 high, not H1.
Okay, thank you.
So I'll show you some quick examples. So this was one on FXCM. Check later. This would create a strong high. And even though we are bullish already, if you get confirmation here, you can still sell as a pullback. And this is liquidity engineering model. So what's happening? Is very simple. Price is bullish. Let's say we have an uptrend. We tap into some high time frame level. We give our double sweep there. And we start selling. There's some objective. or it doesn't have to be objective, it can just be a clean uptrend. But the moment price creates this strong high, you are expecting a pullback. What's the point of this pullback? So you can have some SLQ and you can refine it to SLQ as well. Doesn't matter. The point is that we already have this as our liquidity, buy side liquidity. When price takes it out, it will fund our next pullback move, right? But maybe there's some objective above, or maybe we are preparing for some big move. This can be at the beginning of the reversal as well, as we see now on daily time frame. And what price usually does is we already have this buy side liquidity, but we create another high, right? And then the price usually just goes up again, goes to this low, starts trapping people, and then it buys finally. So you can take this sell, and when price is on the third touch or fourth touch, you can start stacking buys. So that's the only time you would see me taking continuational trades on a very bad pricing, because usually you see me executing trades like this. I get extreme, maybe this one, maybe this one, but not this. This scenario is the only time I would take the trades here in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the leg. So strong high creates liquidity, buy side liquidity for future uptrend. We give a reaction and we create another liquidity. Then price gives another fake reaction, and you can start stacking buys. Okay. Another example here. We have external liquidity. You have one sweep, second sweep, bearish candle. If this was a news and the bearish candle was smaller, you can take a sell like this. But in this case, it was just big news. You would miss the whole move. Unless you enter a lower time frame, which is not really reliable. And after this all, even though we know we are bullish and we just tap into SLQ, we know that this guy might give you a reaction. It's not always, but most of the time, will give you a reaction, and you can look for pullback sells here. So we have buy side, liquid buy side, and we even managed to induce another people to sell. Okay. So we'll do one more example. Okay. So there's also some double sweep on daily, I think. Okay, daily internal structure. By the way, quick question. What if asset, every range has its own SLQ? What if there's no visible internal structure in the leg? What do you think? You just hope to lower time frame where we see structure, and then we can say this is SLQ for the daily leg.
Yes, we have to go in a lower time frame to find the SLQ, no?
Yeah. So we go to H4, and you can see this the daily
Yes,
SLQ.
exactly.
And it also happened to be H4, this external range. And oh no, this is external range on H4, and this is SLQ, this is SLQ.
I have a question. Does this reduce the significance of the SLQ if you have to drop the lower time frame and the lower time frame?
No, you only use it if you don't see it on higher time frame. But it's
Okay.
it's as if you found it on higher time frame. Okay, so you can say this is H4 or daily SLQ, and you see price gives you a double sweep, right? Even on H4, you see a double sweep. So now, even though we're bullish, and I'll explain later why this is bullish, and we want to target something above this, you can still anticipate a reaction on that level, right? So it will be, let's say, also if you zoom in, you can see this is, oh no, there's nothing. So you can just follow the last range like this. And then you refine it to inefficiency, to liquidity, so SLQ. And every time price stops, you look for lower time for entry.
Milan, just on that, with when you got to drop down a time frame to find the SLQ, can you, once that's swept, can you still enter on just say a close of a bear, like the opposing candle, or does it need to be dropped down to the lower time frame to get an MSU reversal entry, EPA or double sweep entry, or can you just use the opposing candle?
Oh, This depends on you. It doesn't matter how you enter. You have 3 ways to enter. You
Okay.
can enter on the same time frame on opposite color candle. You can wait for double sweep, which is more reliable for me, especially in this case.
Yeah.
But if you trade like a simple continuation, then you know, like we are in uptrend like this, and we just take an SLQ like this, then opposite candle is enough.
Okay.
But the thing is, it's like 50% of the time it's double sweep, 50% of the time it's opposite color. So I usually just add some buffer, and if it's in extreme, I just straight up put an SL here, like under the main low.
Cool. Perfect. Thanks, mate.
Mylan, I have a question. Can you go back in daily, please? Yes, stay like that. For you, this area, it's money transfer or not?
Yeah,
Yes,
from here.
exactly.
Yes. So
Okay.
before you found this, you have to find the liquidity, and yeah, then it's just a mitigation.
Okay.
So we create a strong high. Again, we have buy side liquidity. We create another buy side liquidity. Additional buy side. We even give a fake reaction. People are selling like crazy on this day. But we know that the third touch or the third inducement, we can simply just take buys. Right? It doesn't have to be the third touch even. That's what I just made up. You can enter before if there's a good setup valid. But that should be it.
Why do you see it as bullish?
I said I'll explain it later.
Okay.
So I'll give you one more example and we can move on. This is not the best case, but this is the day I started using it seriously. So this is April 2023. First of all, you see we had some push. We are very bullish, and we are most probably targeting a daily OB. So this is money transfer, and this is the nearest objective that we have currently. If this guy fails, then we can just simply say this was liquidity and maybe find something here. But this is the nearest one for now. Then you see price swept previous day high, so timing liquidity, had a relevant break of structure. And also I think this was some H4 high. So let's say this one. Yeah, perfect. So we swept the candle, and as you can see, we closed with body right above it. It doesn't matter. If you close above it, you don't count it as first sweep unless we close the next candle below. So at this point, we would see this as our first sweep. Second sweep, we had multiple stop hunts, and they break. So this becomes a strong high for us. And then just simply take a continuation sell, or a pullback sell. F15, just test this price action. Break structure. I mean, you can backtest this on your own, but there should be plenty of entries. But
Hold on,
this,
can you explain that strong high one more time?
yeah. So we said we are nearing our high time objective. We have H for external structure. We have a double sweep, and that's it. As simple as that.
What were you saying? Like if it closes lower?
Oh, we said it doesn't matter if we have a sweep like this. Like we have a first sweep with a wick and we close below. This you can count as first sweep already. But that didn't happen. We had a sweep, but we closed above it. So at this point, you don't see it as our first sweep yet, okay? You can say, oh, but we can still be bullish and we can go straight up. And then you have the bearish candle that closed below it. So the moment you close below it, it confirms that this is our first sweep. And all you're waiting for is for this first high to be taken out. And then you have a bearish candle and you can sell.
Okay, I see that. Thank you.
So, and then of course, prices does something, complete something on high time frame, and prints a strong high for you. So that should be it. I hope it's clear. Does anyone have any questions regarding SLQ or strong high? Nope. Perfect. So now we can hop onto our next liquidity level, which would be transactional liquidity. That's not that important. I don't even use it that much, but it's just good to know. So, you know, every time we have a trend or we break structure in some direction, every break of structure is also a liquidity sweep. So what is this liquidity important for? Every time we take out a high, we take out buy side liquidity, and that enables us to take sells for pullback, right? So, for example, on daily here, doesn't have to be here. Okay, let's do a most recent price action. Every time we broke structure, there's some sell. But you can also see that after few, there is no sell anymore and price just explodes. So usually if you want to use transactional liquidity, you would want to use it with some high time frame confluence from the left. And I only use this on H4 and daily plus. So this is daily liquidity. And then I look for something here, let's say on the H4, as additional confluence to take a sell to even expect the pullback. But as I said, it's the least reliable liquidity. So I don't use it. Maybe at the beginning of trends, like at early reversals. But that's it. So that's everything regarding this one. And then we have external liquidity. We can divide external liquidity into 4 types or 4 confluences, because you see sometimes you have a trend like this and you don't really know which one to choose. Like you want to take a pullback sell, but you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ignore this one. Just let's say this is external liquidity. So we need some confluences to find the correct one. The first one would be strong high, strong low. So high resistance liquidity. As I said in previous calls, whenever you have a downtrend or uptrend and price changes direction, meaning the price stops into something, the last thing you want to do is use supply and demands and POIs to trade, right? This is what most of people do. So you automatically want the moment price stops into this, gives you some reversal pattern. The first thing you want to do is see this one as liquidity, then see this one as possible liquidity. But since this one is liquidity, you can use the one above, the strong high above, as your potential level, let's say as a POI for a pullback. So you can have something like this, and then trade again away from this with some additional confluence on the left. Okay, so for example, we had a strong high. So you are expecting some sells here. You even got some sells here. But on daily time frame, it didn't do anything, right? It was just a pullback. It didn't even break structure. So you can expect a sell from that level again, like around this level. Then you can refine this, refine the area from this high to anything above it. Then you look at the left, and all you see is, let's say, daily OB. If this daily OB is too big for you, you look for entry. Then you can refine it to daily SLQ, and there you go. That's how you found this level. Well, that should be it. Yeah. Okay, let me check H4. But if you guys want, we'll go into details in the next one. I'll show more examples when we go through the trades. Second thing we can use, and I'm using the most, is EPA chain. You see, I don't use buildups like people that much. You know, it's good to market as a pattern to trade against it, but otherwise there's no use of really. So EPA chain would be whenever price taps into 50% and continues. So this would be the external liquidity level that you look at. And it's good for pullback, it's good for continuation, it's good for reversal, for all. So for example, I think 3 weeks ago, let me just find, yeah, here. This weird consolidation. Some people asked, why did we take buys in this level? And now you know. All you had to go to is H4. And this is how I did my top-down analysis for the day. Okay, I was still bullish. That's the first thing. We had a reversal MSU on daily time frame. We had a fake break of structure here. We had an inducement. We had a key break of structure. And we are simply mitigating MSU POI. This you can refine later on. So of course, we are expecting a buy from MSU POI to the next TLQ. Then I see price stops. Okay, for that reason, we can say this high is a trap, right? And what did we say about traps? The moment price enters a trap, the conditions of market will change. So what it means for you, this is a trap. Let's say price started some big sell move here. That's why it's a trap. Then taps into something. Then this can also happen to be, let's say, daily ILQ, and you are trading delivery into it, targeting this guy. The moment price enters the range, you expect a change of conditions. So what it means, first you have to check how price is moving into that POI. You see, sometimes price moves in EPA, taps into the trend. What do you think? Is this trade valid? No, because everything will change now. So it can do something like this and continue. It can take 2 and continue. It can take all and continue. This you cannot know in real time. So it's always better for me if it's EPA to wait for the next break when I'm sure that this trap is done. Okay. And then you just take a trade like this and target the high. The moment price enters, takes out the high, again, you don't want to trade continuation anymore because you just tapped into high time objective. So that's it when it comes to EPA. It can also be IPA. So sometimes you see me taking lower time frame trades. I use this especially when I scalp. For example, when you have IPA like this, what do you think happens when we tap into a trap? We change conditions. So of course, this is the last thing you expect. It can happen, but if it does, then what? You miss the trade, you miss the move, and that's it. But what you expect is instead of EPA, a different conditions would be instead of IPA, a different condition would be EPA. So this is a possibility. If you get some confirmation here, you can take the buy, or you can just expect an MSU. Okay. And what if we move into that range with perfect MSU and order flow like this? Then I again don't recommend trading it because something like this can happen and price goes. So you don't, even though this MSU PI, you don't expect much from it. Low probable trade. So for that reason, that's also the question I asked on Instagram like 3 weeks ago. Why is this MSU range not reliable, right? Because it makes sense to take buys. It makes sense to take continuations on lower time frame. It is EPA M15 following the range. So why is this not valid? Because we tap into the trap and we change conditions now. And the last thing you want to trade is this buy, this zone. So what you can do, you can wait for this to happen and then take a buy here till here, or you can just simply hop to higher time frame. Switch to one time frame higher and find a reasonable level. And as you can see here, oh, this one, you go to FXCM. Yeah, as you can see here, in real time, all I see was this. So this is some M15 OB refined. Let's do this. So what liquidity do we have here? This is our external structure. And now it's hard to choose which one is correct, right? So we don't have any strong highs, strong lows that we can use as liquidity level, but we have EPA chain right here. So here you have a low, price breaks, taps into the low and continues. So this would be some sort of new order flow. And this would be our liquidity level, right? As then takes it out. This was also M15 SLQ. And the entry would be a double sweep on H1. So you see EPA chain taken out. First sweep, second sweep, bullish candle. And you can just take a buy like this. Technically speaking, then you can wait for some refinements later on, or you can refine the trade on lower time frame. It doesn't matter really. And that's it. So one example, as well as weekly, why we started this big buy. Again, it was just simply EP chain. Build up, you have the full structure. So low, 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 50% mitigated is the liquidity. And again, what do you want to use? A double sweep. So you either wait for this or lower time frame entry, which would be on daily or H4. Right, and you even see it doesn't take out the previous one, the previous week. Yeah. One more example. We can continue. This is EP chain. This. But I think it's clear. Does anyone have any questions regarding this? No.
Why was it a trap? The big whip, the big wick that you were showing us?
Why do you think?
Huh?
Why do you think it's a trap?
On an
Because you want to
MSU.
come from?
It's an MSU. This is the H4 EP chain, liquidity order flow, EP liquidity pool. You expect the pullback at least from this level, right?
Yeah.
You had your MSU into it and a key boss. So you just expect a continuation. But that's it.
Okay.
So it all revolves around higher time frame. The next confluence we can have is support and resistance levels. So there was a question at the beginning of the day. Does it matter if this guy mitigates it like this, like just a slight rebalance, or not? It does. Simply the smaller the rebalance is, the shallower the more shallow it is, the lower probable it is to hold. So for example, on daily or H4 even, you'll see, for example, this zone, we have some internal break, price breaks, and rebalances slightly. So this would be your confidence to say, okay, we are not going to trade from this. But if price takes this out, it's going to give you some reaction, right? So it's just breaker.
Sorry, price is efficient there.
Where?
Here, you see one break, second break.
Okay.
Efficient. So on smaller time frame here, you can enter.
Oh yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Okay. And the last one is momentum liquidity. The last two you don't even have to remember, but if you see me take a trade, it can be one of those reasons. I don't use it from day-to-day basis. But if it appears, I use it. So momentum liquidity is simply this. You can look at it with, from multiple perspectives. So just a quick question. Do all these moves have same amount of liquidity? This low, and this low?
No, because people get like psychology makes them buy if they see the market going so fast in a certain direction. So the last one has much more liquidity.
Okay, it doesn't matter what speed it has, but depends on the size of the move of the scale. So of course, this one is where all the momentum came from. And if you see moves like this in market, this should be the first place you mark as a trap. Okay. A trap doesn't mean that it won't give you a reaction or a trade, but it's most likely not gonna be the next level for a buy. So what do you expect when the price enters a trap like this? A simple pullback, right? So this is first level. If you want to scalp, this first level you take a buy on with lower time confirmation. Second would be naturally this low. If the trap doesn't hold and you just go straight past it, this should be the level that you look for a pullback on. And price continues lower, and for instance, takes out the EPA chain, and then you can continue. Okay. So
This can be applied after news.
Hmm?
This can be applied after news.
It doesn't matter what price action it is. It can be news, it can be slow price action. News is just accelerated price action. So if you want to trade news, you just follow same rules, same concepts, same view, and everything should be Gucci. So for example, here we tap into, okay, wait, fine, I'll find a better example. January was good. Okay. So for example, in these lows, you see you have one low. It doesn't matter if it's internal or external. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? And this is where all the momentum came from. So this will be your momentum liquidity, and this will be your nearest trap. And in both cases, you can look for buys, for pullback buys. So I'll draw it again for you. It can look like this, it can be external, or it can be internal as well. So usually, if I use it on internal, you would have some high time from liquidity structure. Let's say this daily structure, and while price is breaking this, there should be something here on H4, or it can look like this as well. Here's some consolidations, and it's the level where the momentum came from.
It's almost the same as inducement liquidity.
Inducement is more objective. This, it's a bit subjective. Inducement is just external.
Okay.
Actually, it doesn't have anything in common. So, for example, on this day, I missed this buy, but it could be explained. So this, right? Go back into this price action, you see some reaction. So I will go to M15 or H1 and see what's happening. I look at this low and all I see is, oh, maybe price will mitigate this low. But I also see price broke structure here. Then you can hop to M5 and you would see what broke this high, M15 high, this M5 low. Of course, you don't anticipate it in advance, okay? You wait for this reaction to happen, and then you can start checking what it actually reacted from. And if it makes sense, then you can use it. So you say, oh, okay, we tap into a level that is valid for buy, and I can get in a buy later in a pullback. But by no means you can predict those levels in advance. It's just very rare. So this is one example. After this, you would be able to take a buy, or just in case, you could also wait for another break of structure and take the buy. I'll show you one last example, then we'll get to traps. So let's say here. Perfect. We have an H1 break of structure. You can go to M15. So on H1, you don't really see any liquidity, right? If I ask you, you just say, oh, I see this balanced price range, but that's all. Okay, some wicks, but if you mark every wick, then your chart would look like this. So all you have to do is you go to M15. And this would be the structure that broke the low that broke structure. So this would be a trading level. And then you can refine it with something additional to that. But that should be it. So with this, I think we completed the whole liquidity chapter. And you can use all those levels to trade.
I have a question.
Yep.
The last liquidity, you call it momentum liquidity.
Yeah.
So when it takes out the low that you've shown us, do you wait for MSU or you wait for just a rejection candle?
You can do both again. You can enter on MSU on lower time frame, or you can wait for the original time frame, which was H1, and enter on bullish candle on H1 with some additional confluence. The more confluences you have to each trade, the better it is. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay. So we finished all topics and all concepts that I use for trading. Oh, one more thing, the reversals. Shit. So far there are 3 reversal patterns. Did I show a lit cycle in the previous call?
No.
Okay. So what reversal patterns do you have? You have EPA, right? 2 breaks of structures anyway. You have a relevant break of structure. This is, let's say, Asian low. Has breaks. Day trade. You have reversal MSU. And last thing I would recommend is a lit cycle. There are many cycles, but I only use one. And it would be a build-up. So a build-up can be subjective, can be objective, but I just follow structure like normally. you have a break of multiple structures. So suddenly you have an inducement and people are starting to buy. Then after inducement, we have a trap. So this is a trap, as takes it out. Usually you have one fake reaction, and then you have a final sweep and price continues. So if you see this in real time, it will be an indication that there might be something on the left. Okay, so after the inducement, you start checking the left. Maybe there's some unfilled FEG, maybe there's some POI, liquidity level, whatever. And if there is, then you can enter with a limit. I usually use like 5 to 10 pip stop loss, or you can wait for breakout structure and enter. Also, sometimes there's not two sweeps, but just one, like this. If this happens and price goes up, all you can do is wait for an internal mitigation, an internal breakout structure, and then you can trade. So something like this. So you can enter without confirmations, or lower time confirmations if you want to. Or you can enter after the breakout structure and take a buy. So this is the most objective trap we'll ever have. Show you some quick example now. So you asked me why I was targeting this high, right?
Yes.
This is the reason. You have some build-up. We are bullish still. You see people get induced. So all you have to wait for now is this to be taken out. So this is your trap. You have some fake reaction also to create more liquidity. You have first false reaction. A false reaction I define with structure. So you have some fake reaction, and then you look above, right? And then you check, oh, so it still might be something here in extreme, or it can be the OB above. And then you just check high time frame, and you see it all lines up with FEG fill. And that's how you can take this sell. So many confluences. Inside of this range, in I think 2 weeks ago, 9th, so it was, yeah, well, 2 weeks ago, same thing.
You look at the time too.
Huh?
You look at the time. If it's London.
I don't care about timing that much because I trade high time frame. If you trade M15, you don't have to care about session. If you wanna trade intraday, then sure. But I'll not go into that. So
Well, 15 minutes, it's not intraday.
it is intraday.
Okay.
But the confirmations are not that fractal. The time frame is high enough to work on its own without any timing.
Okay.
So you can trade, yeah. So I can trade solely just a naked chart without any sessions, without any timing, without knowing what day it is.
On 15.
Yeah, on M15. Like if you want to trade one time frame, it would be M15. Like without watching a high time frame and lower time frame. Then if you trade M5, M1, then it's just refinements for levels. But for levels, you use M15, H1, H4 daily. Depends on what range you're in and also what range you just broke. So here we had an FEG fill. So we complete some objective, but you see no liquidity. So this is one way to create liquidity. We have a build up. And that's also why I had a buy here, somewhere here. Based on M5 and relevant pos. This is Asian low, M15 breaker structure, and I just target this high, right? So that's the reason. We create a trap, people get induced, and again we can check the conditions, the thing that I was talking about. Can check M15 first. Okay. So how did we move into this slow? We just had simple EPA and MSUs, right? And for that reason, the moment we tap into this trap, the last thing you want to use is continuation like this. Like you see, oh, this is a MSU POI. but this is the last thing you want to use, just because you tap into the trend, and the latest condition was MSUPY. So
Milan,
you're expecting this guy to go, and where it ends, you don't know. You wait for some confirmation. So the item gets taken out, then you get some lower time for confirmation, and you can take the sell.
Milan.
Yeah.
Look, we can enter here after taking the inducement on the MSU.
Oh, wait. 5. Okay, so yeah, you can. This would just be some internal structure, press sweep, double sweep. Additional to that, you had OB rejection. And all is efficient internally. And this is also MSUPY.
Okay.
So after this, you wait for the trap to go. You have 1 reaction. And again, as I said, you usually want to wait for 2. That didn't happen. We mitigate something internally. We filled FEG. We took out SLQ. Then we broke structure. So after this break of structure, you'd want to take the buy and target the high or anything above it. So one more example would be here. Build up, inducement, trap, first reaction, second reaction, confirmation that there's something lower. This was H1 drop base rally. And you can enter right away. I had 1 entry with like, I think it was like 10 pips stop loss. And of course you can wait for breakout structure and continue after breakout structure with any lower time for confirmation. So there's some more. For example, even here for M1 enthusiast, even though we already had a confirmation for, wait, was it M1?
Putain, j'ai de cep. J'ai pissé sa mère.
Okay, then I don't know what price action that was. Let me find it. Oh, it must have been somewhere here. Emre, do you know?
Looking for that sell on the 3 minutes, I think.
Yeah, but okay, whatever. I'll show you in the next call. So it was over 1 hour and we finished everything we wanted today. Does anyone have any questions regarding liquidity or any trades that you want me to break down?
I have a question. I don't trade it, but I mainly look at it. Nasdaq.
Nasdaq?
Yeah. When you see them break all-time highs, it's hard to trade.
There's nothing to trade.
Huh?
There's nothing to trade if it breaks all-time high.
Yeah.
So all you can trade is trading round numbers. The 1800 sounds fine.
Sans me le dire ça, je sais.
But that's it. Okay, so since we don't have any questions, we'll have 2 more calls. In the next call, we'll make a trading plan, or not make a trading plan. I'll just show you how I approach a chart. And in the last call, we'll break down like 30 to 40 trades of the whole year. So you get everything. But now if you want to backtest or if you want to live test, all you have to do is you go to chart, you find a high time frame objective, you find a high time frame target, and then you just look for entry models. And it's that simple. So for example, last few days, our objective was daily FVG. We also know that if you trade daily FVG, we need to create some liquidity. So now we did create some liquidity. We did have a reversal MSU, but in this case, it's not enough. You also see this lit cycle. So usually I would like, or I personally am targeting this low, and you just trade towards your target, right? But the bias is the only thing that cannot be correct all the time. So maybe someone is bullish and price is actually bullish after, let's say, breaking, creating another additional stop hunt, mitigating something extreme, and goes.
And for you, the next target is where? Because for me, I think we have yes, exactly
So
the same.
this,
We have a major liquidity on your line, and above we have the money transfer.
this, yeah, that can also happen.
But here is efficient too.
Yes,
No,
exactly.
it's not
Exactly.
important.
Yeah.
Again, I told you at the beginning, you don't use efficiency like that.
We can probably.
Oh yeah, we can, of course.
What did you say?
I said at the beginning of the call, I already told you, you don't use efficiency like that. You only use it on the current leg.
Okay.
If this is APA or IPA, you don't care.
How about the targets?
Targets is the same as levels you trade away from.
No, I mean, can this be liquidity?
Oh yeah, it can. This was my target, or it still is.
Okay.
Okay, so that's it, everyone. Today, I mean, in the next few days, I'll show you markups, so you have something to learn from. And yeah, that's everything for today. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Cheers, Marlon.
Cheers.
Peace.